Resilience, a word so often spoken yet so rarely understood. It's thrown into conversations about grit, survival, and overcoming hardship, as if it's merely about bouncing back from adversity. But resilience is not just a rebound, it's the full experience of life in all its shades: the joy, the struggle, the silence, and the storm. True resilience isn't about snapping back into place like nothing happened. It's about transformation. It's about surrendering to life's currents, adapting, evolving, and finding strength, not in resistance but in flow. Resilience as flow, not force. Too often we define resilience as the ability to withstand, to push through, and to stay firm. But what if resilience isn't about standing unshaken in the storm, but about learning to move with it? Nature shows us this truth over and over again. A tree doesn't fight against the wind, it bends. A river doesn't wage war against the rock, it carves its way through, fluid and unrelenting. To be resilient is not to be immovable, but to trust in movement itself. To understand that emotions, hardships, and uncertainty are not obstacles to be conquered, but waves to be ridden. This is where resilience truly lives, not in the illusion of control, but in the ability to dance with chaos. The childlike spirit of resilience. Interestingly, the most resilient beings are often children. They don't carry their struggles like scars of war. They experience emotions fully, anger, sadness, joy, without suppressing them. And then they let go. They fall, cry, get up, and run again, without overthinking their failures. But somewhere along the way, we unlearn this. We begin to carry pain like a badge of honor, collecting regrets and turning our past struggles into weights. Yet, true resilience isn't about proving toughness. It's about staying fluid, allowing ourselves to feel without being consumed, to adapting without fearing change. Resilience as liberation, owning your narrative. At its core, resilience is an act of self-liberation. When you question societal norms and lean into uncertainty, you reclaim ownership of your story. No longer bound by rigid expectations, you develop the strength to write your own script, even if it means walking an unfamiliar road. This isn't rebellion for its own sake. It's an understanding that true resilience isn't about fitting into a pre-existing mold, but about shaping life in a way that aligns with your truth. And in doing so, you don't just survive, you thrive, free from the weight of forced conformity. The humor in hardship, laughing through the unknown. Here's an underrated aspect of resilience: humor. The ability to turn struggles, our own and even those caused by loved ones, into something we can laugh at suggests an emotional intelligence far deeper than mere coping. It's not avoidance, it's alchemy. It's the ability to step outside pain, see the absurdity of human existence, and say, well, that happened. Because every difficulty we face, big or small, changes us. And in that moment of transformation, there's a quiet death. Yes, death. The death of the version of you that existed before the struggle. And in its place, a new self emerges, stronger, wiser, more attuned to the rhythm of life. Resilient people don't just endure hardship, they reframe it. They find humor in life's unpredictability, not because they take things lightly, but because they recognize that suffering is amplified when we take ourselves too seriously. They understand that laughter isn't denial, it's survival. Resilience as trust, finding stability in chaos. Most of us crave certainty. We want answers, timelines, guarantees. But resilience isn't found in knowing what comes next. It's found in trusting that, whatever happens, we will navigate it. It's understanding that we don't need to control every twist in the road to trust our ability to walk it. Some days, resilience looks like pushing forward. Other days, it looks like pausing, resting, or even breaking down. And that's okay. Healing isn't a straight line. Growth isn't a checklist. True resilience allows space for uncertainty. It says, I don't know what comes next, but I trust myself to handle it when it does. The 6 pillars of resilience. Resilience isn't about having an unshakable will. It's a collection of habits, mindsets, and relationships that keep us standing when life gets tough. Here are 6 foundational elements of resilience. 1. Vulnerability, strength and softness. True resilience isn't about pretending to be unaffected. It's about acknowledging pain, fear, and uncertainty without letting them define you. To be resilient is to say, yes, this is hard. Yes, I am struggling, but I will keep moving. 2. Adaptability, thriving in chaos. Life is unpredictable. Resilient people don't cling to a rigid path. They adjust, pivot, and reinvent. They don't fear change. They master it. They let go of outdated expectations and embrace the unknown with curiosity. 3. Purpose, the anchor in the storm. Those who endure life's hardest trials often have a deep sense of purpose. They don't just fight to survive, they fight for something greater than themselves. Purpose transforms pain into growth and struggle into meaning. 4. Connection, strength in togetherness. No one is resilient alone. We draw strength from those who remind us of our worth when we forget. A kind word, a warm hug, a shared silence. These small moments carry us through the darkest nights. 5. Emotional mastery, harnessing the storm within. Resilient people don't suppress emotions, they understand them. They allow grief, frustration, and fear to move through them without becoming trapped in them. They feel deeply, but do not drown. 6. Experience, the testing ground of resilience. Hardship doesn't create resilience, it reveals it. True resilience is not just forged in crisis, but in small daily choices. Patience over frustration, discipline over comfort, humor over bitterness. It's not about merely surviving the storm, but learning to navigate it with strength and wisdom. Resilience is an ongoing process, not a destination. There is no final stage of resilience. No moment where we can say, I've mastered it, I will never struggle again. It doesn't work like that. Resilience is a practice, a constant ebb and flow, a learning and unlearning, a becoming and unbecoming. It's allowing ourselves to be reshaped by life without fearing that we are losing ourselves in the process. It's understanding that healing is not about erasing pain, but about integrating it. It's trusting that no matter how many times we fall apart, we will find a way to put ourselves back together, again and again, in new and unexpected forms. Closing thoughts, living resilience. Let's be real. Resilience isn't always triumphant. It's not a heroic march through the fire. Sometimes it's just holding on when everything inside you wants to let go. It's about preparing for the storm before it arrives, not just bracing yourself when it hits. Think of health. We don't wait to fall ill before taking care of our bodies. We exercise, eat well, and rest, not because we are currently sick, but because we know that strength is built long before illness strikes. Resilience works the same way. It's about laying the groundwork through mindset, emotional awareness, and adaptability so that when hardship comes, we are not merely reacting to it, but ready for it. So, if you're in the middle of uncertainty, if life feels like a storm you don't know how to weather, remember this. You don't have to fight your way through it. You don't have to rush to be okay. You just have to keep moving, keep feeling, keep trusting. Because resilience isn't about being unbreakable. It's about knowing that no matter how many times you break, you will rise, different, wiser, and more alive than before.